Drive through certain Washington suburbs right now, and you will see something that was unthinkable 3 years ago. Brand new houses finished, landscaped, staged, sitting empty. Week after week, month after month. Here is the number behind what your eyes are seeing. In April of 2026, active inventory in the Seattle metro rose 39% from a year earlier. According to the REMAX National Housing Report, that was the largest inventory increase of any metro area in the United States. Not one of the largest. The largest. And in one specific corridor north of Seattle, the number of homes sitting on the market did not rise 39%. It nearly doubled. Today I am counting down 10 Washington cities where homes, including brand new construction, are stacking up unsold in 2026, ranked from number 10 to the single most oversupplied market in the state. The data comes from the Northwest Multiple Listing Service, REMAX, Redfin, and Homes.com research. Stick around for number 2, because it is the story that made national news. And number 1 is a number I had to read 3 times. Let's get into it. Starting at number 10, Kent. Kent has been the working-class engine of the Seattle metro for decades. Warehouses, distribution centers, and street after street of middle-income family homes. During the pandemic boom, builders bet heavily on this market, and buyers stretched their budgets to the limit to get in. Now the shelves are filling up. The broader South and East King County region that includes Kent posted an increase of roughly 48% in active residential listings year over year in Northwest MLS regional data, while closed sales in parts of the corridor declined by double digits. The pattern brokers describe is consistent. More homes, fewer buyers, longer waits. Sellers who priced at last year's numbers sit. Sellers who cut, sell. The Southwest King County numbers show how thin the ice is. The area's median has gone essentially flat, up less than 0.5% to about 665,000, while closed sales fell more than 10%. Flat prices on falling sales is the stage right before declines, and Kent is standing on it. In a market full of financially stretched households, that is how price declines begin, one reduction at a time. That is number 10. Number 9, Renton. Renton sits at the south end of Lake Washington, part of that same regional data zone where active listings jumped nearly half in a single year. For most of the last decade, Renton was the compromise city, close enough to Seattle and Bellevue jobs, cheap enough for first-time buyers. Builders responded with townhome and single-family projects across the city. The compromise math has broken. With mortgage rates in the mid-6% range, Renton's price point stopped being an easy yes for first-time buyers. And first-time buyers are precisely who this city's new inventory was built for. The result is listings accumulating faster than they clear. Renton's builders leaned especially hard into townhomes, the classic first-rung product. Across the metro, townhome sales just fell nearly 13% in a single month, the sharpest drop of any housing type, according to Homes.com research. The product Renton built the most of is the product buyers are walking away from fastest. Renton is what happens when a city built for entry-level buyers meets an era when entry-level buyers cannot enter. That is number 9. Number 8, Everett and the surrounding Snohomish County market. The Northwest Multiple Listing Service reports the same trend across King, Snohomish, and Pierce counties. More homes hitting the market, sales failing to keep pace. In Snohomish County, that trend lands on top of a local economy still absorbing years of Boeing workforce reductions. Everett's newer subdivisions, built to catch buyers fleeing King County prices, now compete with a rising wave of resale listings. Homes spend longer on the market, and the county's newest neighborhoods, the ones with builder signs still at the entrance, feel the weight most. And the pipeline behind them has not stopped. New listings across the metro rose more than 14% year over year, per the REMAX report. Fresh sellers keep arriving into a market that has not cleared the last wave, which is exactly how a backlog becomes a glut. When the region's anchor employer is shrinking, and the region's inventory is rising at the same time, new homes sit. That is number 8. Number 7. Tacoma and Pierce County. Pierce County shows the same Northwest MLS pattern, active listings climbing sharply year over year, while closed sales barely move. Tacoma spent the boom years as Seattle's overflow valve, and builders followed the overflow, adding townhomes and infill construction across the city. Now the overflow has slowed, Seattle's own market softening means fewer priced-out buyers pushing south, and Tacoma's inventory is stacking up just as its buyer pipeline thins. Statewide, the median home price has already slipped below where it stood a year ago, according to Northwest MLS data, and Pierce County has followed the same direction. The waiting is measurable. Homes across the metro now average 51 days on the market, 5 days longer than last year. For a seller, 5 extra days does not sound like much. For a builder carrying construction loans on an entire unsold street, 5 extra days on every home is a financing problem with a clock on it. A city whose demand was borrowed from its neighbor, watching the neighbor stop lending. That is number 7. Number 6, Vancouver, Washington. The one across the river from Portland. Vancouver rode a decade-long pitch, Portland access without Oregon's income tax, and its suburban edges filled with new subdivisions to match the demand. Aerial photos of East Vancouver from the boom years show construction as far as the frame reaches. Today, the pitch has weakened along with Portland's economy, and Vancouver shows the same regional signature: rising listings, slower sales, new construction competing with a growing resale pile. Builders who planned communities around a steady stream of Oregon transplants are now marketing to a stream that has thinned. Rates are holding the door shut. After drifting down early in the year, the 30-year fixed climbed back to around 6.5% in late spring, and the Northwest MLS economist was blunt that nobody can predict when it falls. At 6.5%, a move-up buyer who locked 3% in 2021 simply does not move. New homes built for a migration wave that is fading. That is number 6. Number 5, Seattle's condo market, and especially its newer towers. King County condo inventory is up roughly 22% year over year, while condo sales fell nearly 10%, and condo prices have dropped about 5.7%, the steepest decline of any housing type in the market. Walk through South Lake Union or parts of downtown, and the story is visible. Newer buildings, delivered into the softest segment of the market, working through unsold units floor by floor. Condos are the first rung of the ownership ladder, and rates in the mid-6s have priced the first-rung buyer out. Developers who penciled these towers in a 3% world are selling them in a 6.5% one. The May data caught the buyer retreat directly. Condo sales fell more than 11% in a single month, and researchers at Homes.com point to budget-conscious first-time buyers pulling back as paychecks lag inflation. The exact person these towers were built for is the person who just left the market. Hundreds of brand-new homes in the sky, waiting for buyers who did the math and walked away. That is number 5. Number 4, Issaquah. We covered Issaquah's prices in the last video. Here is its inventory story. Active listings in Issaquah jumped 83% year over year. 83. In the Issaquah Highlands, the master-planned community that defined Eastside growth for 2 decades, newer homes now share the market with a wave of resales, and the combination has pushed prices down roughly 8%. Issaquah matters because of what it represents. This is not a struggling market. It is a top school district, tech salary market, and even here, homes are stacking up faster than buyers absorb them. When oversupply reaches the towns that were supposed to be immune, it is a statewide condition, not a local one. That is number 4. Number 3. Bellevue and the Eastside core. The Eastside posted some of the sharpest inventory growth in the region, with active residential listings in the broader Bellevue-Renton NWMLS zone up nearly 50% year over year. And Bellevue's newest inventory is concentrated exactly where the market is weakest, the luxury tier. New downtown towers like the high-rise projects delivered over the past few years brought hundreds of units priced from $800,000 into the millions, into a segment where prices are now down roughly 11%. Luxury homes take the longest to sell in a soft market because their buyers have the most options and the least urgency. Bellevue built for the top of the cycle. The cycle turned. That is number 3. Quick pause before the final 2. If these numbers are useful, subscribe. We break down the real Washington data every few days, and the last 2 on this list include the single most oversupplied corridor in the entire state. The number still surprises me. Number 2, the Seattle Metro as a whole, and this is the national story. In April 2026, REMAX reported Seattle Metro active inventory up 39% year over year. the largest increase of any metro in the United States. New listings rose over 14%. Homes averaged 51 days on the market, 5 days longer than a year ago. By May, Homes.com counted more than 15,000 homes for sale across the metro. For scale, King County's inventory is now roughly double its December low, and active listings across the entire Northwest MLS region are up about 17% year over year, the most homes available at any point in 2026. This is not one hot corridor. It is the whole board filling up at once. And here is the forward-looking signal. Building permits across the region have collapsed from roughly 32,000 units a few years ago to around 14,000. Builders are voting with their budgets, and the vote says they do not expect this inventory to clear quickly. Fastest growing for sale pile in America, in a metro where the median home still costs over $700,000. Homes are being finished faster than this market can absorb them. That is number 2. Now the single most oversupplied corridor in Washington. Number 1. The North King County Corridor, Shoreline, Bothell, and Woodinville. Active listings in this corridor rose 87.76% year over year in Northwest Multiple Listing Service breakout data. Let me say that plainly. The number of homes sitting for sale in this corridor nearly doubled in 12 months, while pending and closed sales fell. Nothing else in the state matches it. Not Seattle's 39, not the Eastside's 48, not even Issaquah's 83. This corridor, the middle-class commuter belt that absorbed a decade of growth and a wave of new townhome construction along the light rail expansion, is now the most oversupplied housing market in Washington. Woodinville, at the corridor's east end, is already showing what that oversupply does to prices, down roughly 15%, the fastest decline in the state. The rest of the corridor is earlier in the same story. An oversupply feeds on itself. When a street has one listing, the seller sets the price. When it has 5, every price cut resets the comparable value for the other 4, and the market starts chasing itself downward. That chase has already started here. Almost double the homes, fewer buyers, and prices just beginning to respond. But here is the part of this story that the inventory numbers alone will not tell you, and it matters if you live anywhere in this state. Rising inventory is not the same thing as a crash. Part of this surge is simply normal listings returning after unusually thin years, and sellers locked into 3% mortgages are still holding back, which keeps a floor under supply. What the data actually shows is a market losing its scarcity, and scarcity was the only thing holding prices at these levels. Where inventory doubled first, Woodinville, prices fell 15% first. The rest of these cities are watching their own preview. One honest exception, because the data deserves it. Kirkland, sitting right in the middle of all this, has actually risen modestly this year. Not every market is falling, and that is precisely the point. This is a sorting, and the cities on this list are the ones the sorting is going against. So the question worth asking is not whether homes are sitting empty, it is which cities are next in line for the price declines that follow. We track exactly that every few days on this channel, with the newest NWMLS and Redfin data as it releases. Subscribe, because the next report is already in motion. The data always tells the real story. This is Washington Insider.